Gurudev, and welcome to your Saheli chat show. My name is Jazz Saikon, and with me as always I've got Davinda Ubi and Gurdial Garcha. Hello ladies and welcome.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about just a shout out really, because of the sad story about Deep Singh that happened last couple of days. We're going to give a shout out to all the men really going through mental health illnesses. And I think जिन्ना भी ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ टॉपिक ते गल करिए ਉਹ थोड़ा आ है ना, जिन्ना भी करिए तो सारिਆਂ ਦਾ awareness raise करिए बहुत जरूरी आ, because the world wrongly taught males to mask their emotions and not to talk about it, and men too suffer and they have suicidal thoughts, and men die by suicide, and we need to encourage men to speak up, not to expect them to man up all the time. And I think we need to change the narrative around men and mental health. ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਗਰ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਉਹਦੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਔਖਾ ਆ। ਬੰਦਾ ਜੈ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ, ਉਹ ਜੈ ਚੱਕਾ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥਾਂ 'ਚ।
I mean, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੁੱਖ ਲੱਗਾ, and I think everybody ਜਿਹਨੇ ਵੀ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਆ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਆ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ he looked healthy,
and 24 years old,
ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ there's nothing wrong, ਜਿਹਦਾ ਮੂੰਹ ਤੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਮਗਰੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਨਿਕਲੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਜਾਂ ਕਾਹਤੇ ਹੋਇਆ। So it's so important ਵੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਕੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਉਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਕਰੋ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਭੈਣ ਭਰਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਹੋਵੇ, older generation ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਚੈੱਕਅਪ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਆਂਟੀ ਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਦਰਦ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੌੜੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਬੰਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ।
ਆਂਟੀਆਂ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਾ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, because we need to change the narrative like we said।
ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ alcohol ਪੀ ਲੈਣੀ, ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ
ਨਮ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਪੇਨ ਨੂੰ,
ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ encourage ਕਰੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰੋ। I mean ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਸ਼ਾਪ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਦੋ ਬੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, they were drinking a cup of tea which is I thought it was really nice. So we need more of that.
Yes we do.
So
I mean my husband goes out and they go out sare the men ikkathe ho rahe and I would say what do you talk about, so we just talk about anything, nothing, but they don't talk about emotional stuff. They talk about they made the shed football the other week or football, but we do ask them, do you ever talk about really like deep important things, and no, we don't talk about things like that. It's just apne culture society hega that men always from young bachpan to then always been taught that it's a sign of weakness to show emotion, to cry, bacha munda especially the boy jo ro raha hai, stop crying, you're strong boys don't cry, achhe bache nahi ronde, so it's something that they program from a young age that it's a sign of weakness to cry, but no, it takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage to show your emotions.
Exactly, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, especially in our South Asian culture when we talk about these issues. You don't realise ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੁੱਲ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਸਰਵਾਈਵਲ ਗਾਈਡ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ। So it's always good to talk, and women are so much easier to talk about these issues, but as women we should keep on talking about these issues to our men, to our sons, to our brothers, to our fathers, and just encourage them it's okay। and ਜੇ ਹੁਣ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ mental health good ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਖਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਦਵਾਈ ਖਾਂਦਾ, again there's nothing to be ashamed of. Support them. Actually we're proud of you because you've taken a stand and ਤੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ। just knowing to change the language।
ਤਾਂ ਨਾਲੇ statistically ਹਰੇਕ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਆ ਟਾਈਮ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਊਗੀ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ ਹੋਊਗੀ, ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆਊਗੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ, ਕਰਕੇ ਲਾਈਫਸ ਲਾਈਕ ਦੈਟ, ਠੋਕਰ ਹਰੇਕ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਮੈਨੇਜ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ। ਨਾਲੇ ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਕੋਈ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਜਾਂ ਸਨ or a male ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਕੁਆਇਟ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ask the question, don't be scared, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਛਤਾਉਣਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ, ਜਾਂ I ignored it, I was too busy. So it's really important, just ask the question। ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਤਸੱਲੀ ਤਾਂ ਹੋਊਗੀ ਕਿ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੇ ਆਪਣੀ friend ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲੈ
Yeah, definitely.
so you know, share the information.
Absolutely, and what you've said there is, you know, it's like I saw this campaign, it was Spot a Bro who's feeling low, and it really like resonated. All you got to do is 4 steps. Ask them, you know, you don't see them yourself, like you said, listen to them, and then encourage action. And then I wrote check in on them, because it's very important just to check in, and even not just that one, you know, not just somebody you think isn't good. It's good to actually check on a few different people that you haven't spoken to for a long time, and you know what galea. There's no harm in making the phone call, and it's just really apne viewers nu remind karan lai, because loneliness is a big thing, and it gets people's, you know, changes everything, and it can get them into such a dark place, and it's very hard to come out of that.
It is.
I mean, I know tusi like, you know, mind te kam kardiyan hai, right? But je hun koi gal nahi karta and spot signs hai nahi ge, bahut mushkil ho janda hai.
That's right.
And I think sometimes ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੱਸਦੇ ਆ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਰੌਲਾ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆ they're covering something up, you know, ਨਾਲੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦਿਖਾ ਲੈਣਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਆ, ਪਰ
you know, some comedians or jokers, they're actually covering.
So it's important. It's not always going to be ਜਿਹੜਾ quiet ਆ, ਕਦੇ ਕਦੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਾਉਂਦਾ ਆ ਵੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਦੁੱਖ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਦਰਦ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਹਾਸੇ ਮਖੌਲ ਚ ਉਹ ਲੁਕਾਉਂਦਾ ਆ.
So as a coach, Hannah, I do get some male clients that are reluctant to take dwai medication because they think it's a sign of weakness, that or there's something, I don't want to be labelled as something wrong with me, so they'll try everything to not take the medication. But I always say to them, take the medication, you know, and then I also will help them obviously on a therapeutic level, but then I'll help them to wean off the medication.
So there's a lot of help out there, isn't there?
So you don't have to be on the medication forever. The medication just to stabilize, you bring balance, and holi holi dwai fir katai jaonge, and then you get your mental strength back. But for you know, the beginning, do take it. It does help, Hannah.
And kei wari aapa na बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम ला दिंदे आ ਤਾਂ illness ਵੱਧ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, and we don't talk to anybody, ਆਪਾਂ help ਲੈਣੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਛੇਤੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ because remember this, it's nothing to be ashamed of, so ਜਿੰਨੀ ਛੇਤੀ ਆਪਾਂ help ਲਈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਉਨੀ ਛੇਤੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ, ਹਨਾ?
ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਹੋਰ ਕਹਿਣੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਕੰਪਿਊਟਰ ਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, so you got the pandemic, you know, and we're all in this really difficult time. ਹੁਣ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਘਰੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਆ, ਸੋ 7-8 ਘੰਟੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਪਿਊਟਰ ਦੇ ਮੂਹਰੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, ਉੱਥੋਂ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਮੂਹਰੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ, so you've had no fresh air, you haven't spoken to anybody, so that's not good mentally. So it's really important that you socialise with somebody, you go for a walk, you get some fresh air, and exercise is the biggest thing. That's the most important thing to help you to feel uplifted.
Exercise helps too, Hannah, to bring release a lot of serotonin, endorphins, because mental health and depression is when we too much stress hormones, too much cortisol and adrenaline. So exercise, movement, and you know, walking, like you said, going out, and you know, that helps to balance the chemical, because it's all you know, there's an imbalance of chemicals. And also, sort of working as a spiritual coach, I always help people to understand that depression, you know, anxiety attack, panic attack, you know, all these are messages that we're getting, and we need to address what the message the body is trying to send us. And depression is sometimes, I always think of the meaning of deep rest, and that's I think
nicely
much sometimes we're getting too fast and in our lives, and living in avoidance and distracting ourselves from issues that we really need to be addressing and dealing with. So sometimes we need that deep rest, and depression doesn't mean you're unwell and you know you're not you're unfit. Actually, it just means your soul needs some rest, and you need to slow down, and the answers will come. All of a sudden, that changes that we need to make. Maybe the changes need to be made in your working environment, or in your health, or in your home life. And then when you slow down in that deep rest, you know, you get a calling.
And we all go through phases like that, and you know, sometimes when you feel like you don't want to talk to anybody, but you're not feeling yourself, and I think just like listening to the Mool mantra really helps, because it satisfies, you know, within yourself, doesn't it? So that's satisfying. Go and do seva at a Gurdwara, and then you're around strangers, but
you're doing something within the
that's
community.
healing, isn't it? Because you're doing something rewarding.
I mean, I've had moments when I feel like I'm going in some sort of depression years ago, but then at that time I didn't understand it as much, but now it really means how important that period was for me, because that's where I needed to isolate and go like a hermit mode.
Yes.
And that's where I was getting all these downloads of information, what I needed to do with my next part of my life.
Yeah.
So some people could have seen that depression, you know, that she's not well or something, but actually I saw it. It's a moment I actually accepted and knew that something powerful was going to come from it. It's just how we label it, you know.
It is.
And I think it's important to recognize your own emotions.
Yes.
You know, if you're feeling that ਕੁਛ ਸਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਮੈਂ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਝਿੜਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਜਾਂ you know ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ you know, give yourself some love, ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚੋ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਾਹਤੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ, you know, why am I feeling like this? ਤਾਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਉਹੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਆਨਸਰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ you know, you will find out that I'm upset because of this. It could be something totally unrelated.
Yes.
It could be something separate, but it's important to recognize it so that you can kind of be kind to yourself and allow yourself to process those emotions and not think that you have to go into a darker place.
And if we didn't have that moment of depression or anxiety, and we just carried on with our life, we'll have a burnout. And we could be dead before you know it, Hannah.
ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ like you said, ਦਵਿੰਦਰ, ਆਪਾਂ ਰਾਜ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਆਪਾਂ overthinking ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਆਪਾਂ situation create ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ, ਕੁਛ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਬਾਹਰ.
That's right,
But again, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਹਨਾ, ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੱਸੀਆਂ ਆ, you know.
So
elaborate.
just कहने जो कोई मुश्किल time आंदा, you know, like सेहत or you know family कुछ भी आता है, it gives a time and opportunity, like हम की चीज़ मैं बार सोची जाती सी and then you realize जो कुछ मैं सोचती सी वो सच्ची हो गया. Then you realize that when कोई depression or anxiety आवे, कोई ill health आवे, it's giving me an opportunity now that जिरी मैं सोच मैं बदल सकूं, because जितना मैं सोचती सी और जो कुछ मैं दिखता it's not working well for me. And if I change my story, and which usually happens into the depression, you do find your life perspective changes and your relationship changes, and it does change for the better if you allow yourself to really accept you're 100% responsible. Whatever you're putting your attention and focus to, that becomes our reality. ਉਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ.
ਉਹ expand ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਉਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮੋੜੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ expand ਹੁੰਦਾ
So
ਹੈ.
don't think of depression and mental health as something going wrong with us. It's actually this, the universe, Paramatma, is giving us a wake-up call. To slow down, pay attention to your thoughts, and now change your thoughts so that life सारी दुनिया change हो जाएगी.
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, but it's just to pick up the signs. So this is the message here really. And now we're going to go on to triggers, because I always find that fascinating, because people don't trigger you, they trigger your trigger.
That's right.
So as you two are coaches, you'll be able to elaborate on this.
I'll let you go first.
Oh, trigger. I always think of Jitani, you have a bandook rifle.
Yeah, because you're moved by your triggered reaction,
so
aren't you?
somebody's pressed the rifle, and but the bullet's gone in us, but the explosion, that's us reacting to it, Hannah. The gunpowder is in us. But the triggers, actually, I see as a blessing in disguise. I don't see it's wrong. If somebody said something, all of a sudden I felt hurt and felt resentful and felt really sad. That's something in me that was already in me. But if that person didn't behave the way they did, I'm holding some sort of program or memory that is not, it's still there, lying in my memory cells. So I've got an opportunity now through that trigger to change my story, change my program. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been aware of it. So I always see a trigger as a blessing. But some people, if they hold on to the story, thinking, they did that, I wasn't even expected it. If they stick in that story, that means they're really blaming the other person for the hurt. But actually, they're just helping us.
So, Davinda, triggers come to keep you safe?
No, they're keeping us safe, but actually making us grow, evolve into a better version, making us awareness, isn't it? So they're making me aware that, they made me feel so small and made me feel worthless, or they made me feel I'm not good enough. But that's a belief, that's a program. I believe in myself. That's why it happened to me. Because if that trigger didn't occur, how would I know that I was carrying that belief,
Yes.
that program? That I already taken that belief from on board. I learned from my environment, from my family and friends, that I'm not good enough. But that trigger helped me. So trigger is always a blessing in disguise. That's the person who's triggered you. Instead of holding, anger towards them, thank you for making me aware that I have this program.
Yeah.
And so this is a very important thing, to have a trigger.
Yeah.
Do you feel?
I mean, for me, sometimes it's making you aware of how you're feeling about a certain situation.
Yes.
If somebody says something to me and I'm thinking, I'm really not comfortable talking about, I mean, you could use any example, and that might make you think of something that happened so far back in your childhood, and you might respond in a way that somebody felt. I mean, it could be a physical response back in the day when you were younger, and you've got to turn that around so that you don't then become maybe your parents, where they use violence, and you want to change all of that because you want to respond in a way that's better, not just for you but for your children.
So it's just understanding this, isn't it? And it's really fascinating when you do understand it. Everything you can handle a lot better and a lot easier.
And over the generations, we need to be more aware so that we can make things better. And I think generationally, if that's the right word, things do get better. But it's all about learning about how we feel about certain situations. So that, again, I'm an empowerment coach, and obviously I'm going to be talking about empowering, so that girls or women don't feel that they have to do something that triggered me. And I want to teach them that this doesn't have to trigger you. Have a conversation. Ask the other person, what was it that made you say this? Can we talk about it?
And this is the good thing, isn't it? Because there's help out there, and you can change it, because there's people that have dealt with it, and if we don't share this with others out there, we can never change it, right? So we know there's a lot of help out there. And talking about empowerment, the most powerful words in the universe are the words that you say to yourself.
That's
so
right.
always
And that's what triggers are, because they're showing us what relationship we have with ourselves. And we would know that because we unsubconsciously we already believe that I'm not good enough, or I'm not clever enough, or I'm stupid. But that triggers helps us. So look at the most suffering and painful thing that we hold on to. How I was treated. That's the most painful thing people hold on to. How they spoke to me. But when we realize it's just a trigger, and then we can let go of blame. Because once we let go of blame and we fall into the feeling of forgiveness, like, I don't even have to forgive that person. I can actually understand why you said that to me, because you're making me aware. If we have this sort of understanding and this mental talk in ourselves, we can live much in a harmonious and more shanti and peace we can live, because I can let go of the other person now. I can actually work on myself, thinking, no, I am worthy, I am good enough. I am not stupid, I am clever. So when I start changing my programs, for triggers less and less hoi jande.
Yes, definitely. Whereas if you're on the other side, if you say, I can't run a business, I can't exercise, I can't do this, and imagine saying these things to your best friend. You wouldn't say that, right?
No, you
Talk
wouldn't.
to yourself like you are your best friend, because you are.
Right.
Now it's just changing it the other way around, isn't it?
Absolutely. We always want someone else to encourage us and give us that support, but we can't give it to ourselves. But we always get so upset how people speak to us. But we're speaking badly to ourselves all the time.
So the examples we give is here, like, I can run a business, I already am. Isn't it? Because Davinda always says this to me when we come in, I'm already doing it, and I can make and attract new friends because I'm doing it right now.
That's right.
It's just very basic, but it's just remembering to do this when we're feeling on a down, and it's hard to think like that.
That's right. And once you understand how the universe works and the mind works, then you realize that whatever you believe in the moment now, so if you want to believe, like, I am already accomplished, I am already running a very, very prosperous company and business, and then you believe that, and some people might think, that's you being delusional or whatever. But But at the end of the day, when you realize that, oh my God, that whatever you speak it into reality.
Yes, you
we have
do.
so much power in our words and our thoughts.
Yes.
You know, we're creating in every moment. So it's not la la land. You actually believed it. You know, say apne jo se ardas kar whatever. So shukrana ardas karo. Jo kuch main mangde ho mil gaya. Thank
Yes.
you.
Already mil gaya.
Yes. And my family is all healthy. My work is prosperous and beautiful. Thank you, Paramatma. Thank you, God.
Yes.
So you live in that shukrana ardas. It's already here because the universe only creates what you believe now.
Yes, definitely. And je tusi ek cheez vi aaj di show tar jette rakhunge, remember this: the most powerful words in the universe are the words you say to yourself.
That's right.
Apna khyaal rakhna pehla, right? Fir aapa hor kise da khyaal rakh sakte hain.
that's
A friend of mine said to me yesterday, I said, we should do a little jog, right? She goes, no, she me koni na thunda. Main kha tu ta ohi gal kiti. Main kha put your trainers on. Te dekh ki kar sakde aapa. Let's try. Say put your trainers on and say I can put my trainers on and run. Jinna bhi kar hoga theek hai.
It's just doing it
and keeping positive, isn't
and
it?
like you sell, every cell anybody's listening to you. If you keep saying, oh, it's so easy for me to run 5k, I'll run 5k every week. And before you know it, you will actually start running 5k.
Exactly. So just remember the words that you're going to use, you know, with yourself today. And from there, we're going to come to a topic. It's quite sensitive, but it's a big one, really. It's like, you know, single widowed parents, and when they like, you know, children of, well, more daughters of single widowed parents, you know, when they go to their parents and obviously the parents have decided that they're going to live with the brother and the babbi, because most of our South Asian parents, that's what they like to do. They like to live with the son, no matter how good the daughter is. They won't live with the kudi, right? Stigma or the So
it's an expectation.
It's an expectation, but you know, mera munda ne mera khyaal rakha, so it's got to be the munda. And your daughter could be like tenfold better and wanting to look after you, and so could your son-in-law. But appa jana nahi hega. And you know, it's like, how does the girl feel? Do you think, like when she goes to her parents, you know, to her mom's or her dad's, whichever surviving parent is there, and it's no longer just the mom's house, you see, it's now the brothers and the babies and their children's. So everything changes, and we know life is always changing and we're evolving, but sometimes it can be quite a difficult situation for a daughter to actually.
I think it's a very interesting subject.
It is.
I mean, first of all, I think it all depends on your personal relationship with your mum.
Yes.
You know, if you've got a good relationship, that's brilliant. But again, the dynamics change when another woman comes into that house.
Yes.
And the son will change from being just a son. It's that old quote, you know, a son is a son until he gets a wife.
Yes.
Something like that.
And a daughter is the daughter for life, isn't she? Yeah.
So I think what you've got is, when the daughters go to the house, if the daughter-in-law and the son are welcoming, then that'll be great.
Yeah.
But if you've got a situation where the daughter-in-law is not very, I'm not going to say just the daughter-in-law, I'm saying the son and the, or both of them together are not going to be very welcoming, then it's going to be like, you're not going to want to go, because you naturally you would know that you're not welcome there. But and I feel like times are changing now. I don't feel like that's got to be a given situation. I think, you know, women are they're younger now.
Yes.
They're not automatically wanting to be living under the control of somebody else. And that's what it is, really. It's a kind of, just a very kind of subtle control, I'd say.
I mean, a lot of widowed single parents, you know, whether it's fathers or mothers, they are living on their own as well. So that way, anybody, any child is welcome anytime, because it's still your dad's or your mum's house.
That's right.
But it's and some people are really lucky. They have lovely brothers and babbi. I've got a friend who's actually going to stay for 3 weeks with her brother and a babbi, and she doesn't have any parents. It's whatever you put into the relationship, and I suppose that's what you're going to get back.
It's different dynamics with everyone.
And like we know, things change, right? So you have to accept. Again, it comes down to acceptance. It is what it is. You've got to make the most of that situation. But our generation is different, because we won't do fark between kuri and munde, hopefully.
No, I mean, I think it's difficult, because I know of, like, you know, where, you know, you might have a woman who's lost her partner, and then all of a sudden she's in her own house, but then maybe, you know, the son and the daughter-in-law want her to stay there. So does she just give up her whole lifestyle of where she's in a community, she's got her friends, she's got her fitness groups, she's older, she's like, you know, So does she do that and then go to somewhere where she doesn't have all of that, the whole lifestyle, or does she stay there and say, well, no? But then that goes against our culture. So that's the struggle. And what will Loki go get? And that's the thing.
The main thing
that they're fighting against.
The main thing is
Loki can get. That's the main problem.
But the main thing should be living and being happy.
That's
you know, like, you know, where they've got their friends, where they've got their comfort zones, where they enjoy doing what they're doing, they can get up and go.
Independence.
And their independence, that's the main thing.
For as long as, I mean, in my opinion, you know, I can speak about my own mum. I think as long as somebody's able to be happy on their own, but also enjoy family life.
I think that's the best way.
That's the best way.
It is. And everybody, you know, is welcome.
You've got the best of everything.
Yes, definitely.
And ज़्यादा harmony रहती है सारे दिन. No one feels pressured, obligation, duty नहीं रहती फिर. It's just pyar.
And that harmony is a key word, isn't it? Harmony in all relationships is what kind of gets us, you know, to that next level.
And I think now things are changing. You know, you can get carers to come in, take care of your family and things like that. So it doesn't have to be the son's got to do this.
No.
Because nobody wants to be forced to be made responsible because, well, I want to take care, well, I did take care of my mum anyway, but it's shared responsibility.
I think that's what
and
the
I think
answer
that's
is.
a nicer way to do it. Rather than, you know, we've got this old assumption, oh, the son's got it. Well, there are families out there who don't have boys.
That's right,
definitely. And we're changing to that aspect. You know, given that they go, oh, by a certain age, I want my son married, I want my daughter married. We're even changing to that, aren't we? Because we're not like that. We think, you know what, when he or she is ready, they will get married. Or when they tell us, they will get married.
Absolutely.
There's no pressure like that on the children at all. So there shouldn't be any pressures on the parents either.
That's right, absolutely.
You know, life... We are changing and we are evolving.
Oh, it's definitely changing, yes.
But there was one thing I was going to say that when somebody, I mean, you know, you've spoke about this, when you lose, you know, your partner, you're vulnerable.
Yes, you are.
And that time is really, really important. That you kind of, we all prepare for it.
Yes.
Because otherwise you kind of, you're just going to be led whichever way. And if you're not in a good, you know, you're naturally not going to be in a good place.
No, you're not.
So,
and
but
especially when it's a shock
ready,
and when you're young and when you don't expect it. You know, when you're a bit older or somebody's been really ill, you kind of have an expectation, don't you? And you think if or but when it just happens like that.
But I think we should talk about these things. And say, look, you know, if something happens to me, everything should be in place.
Yes,
that's right. Yes.
So
we're always scared, aren't we? Because we think, you know.
No, but if you think about
but people feel like that, don't
you're
they?
vulnerable at that time. And that's when things can go wrong.
Yes, definitely.
And you can lose so much.
Of course you can. And you know, whatever anybody's saying to you, you're not listening. So things don't sit well with you because you're not in the right place and you're not in the right mindset.
And for me, that's a bigger worry than being in a place of, you know, you've still got to maintain. I mean, my nanny always used to say, I don't want to ever rely on anybody. And I think that's an amazing
we shouldn't.
thing.
We should live
So
with
she was
dignity.
strong. She was mentally strong right up until the last, I don't know, month or so. She did everything for herself.
I love that. I love
she didn't want
women
to
of that
be.
generation.
That's what women should be.
No, but she never wanted to be a burden on anybody. And I think if women or men can be that strong, then hopefully there wouldn't have to be.
See,
There
those
must be a burden, but it's also, I think it's good not to be a burden because I really 100% agree on that. But I also think it's okay to ask for help as well.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely ask for help. You know, some days you are feeling a bit lonely and you're feeling quite emotional. You should be in that place that you can call up your daughter, son, daughter-in-law, anyone, and don't be a place. But I think, like you said, our generation, we can be more sort of independent, becoming more into awareness because we're working on ourselves, understanding relationship with ourselves. And once we really cultivated that, I don't know what, things will naturally fall into place when circumstances are then aren't good.
And you know, Zindagi,
Paramatma will support you.
Definitely. And you know, Zindagi, nobody knows. And now our time is limited here. So we don't know when our time's going to be up. Nobody knows. But it's something we should definitely talk about and always kind of have that at the back of our minds because it's going to come one day, isn't it? And when it comes, we should really even have our will and our stuff, you know, ready, right? I mean, because otherwise people can be in a right mess.
I mean, my nanny even had all her clothes ready. You know, she sorted everything out.
Yeah.
So.
But when you're Sienna, you kind of do, don't you? But it's like, again, it goes back to when you're like, you know, young in your 40s, you don't expect it.
Yeah.
So we don't. But again, we just don't know what's around the corner. So we should always talk about it and be mindful. From here, we're going to talk about something that we all women do: nagging. I don't know if you two nag. Do you nag? Because this is a behaviour that can be draining for men and for children. It can be draining for men and children.
Never.
I tend to do it a little
That
bit.
means I'm the biggest liar.
Yes, 'cause I'm putting my hand up. I tend to do this, right? Because we as women, we tend to repeat things so many times. I often get my daughter say to me, "Mom, you told me this 10 times." And you as coaches now can tell me, why do we do it so much?
We just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we think that things have to be done at a certain time. We like to be organised.
Yeah.
Maybe it's our generation
Control.
now, because we feel that we're accomplishing so much in our lives. We're doing so many things that, you know, our age now we wouldn't have been doing before. So we want everything in the house, everything to be in the right place. And like I said, the external environment reflects our internal mind. So in our internal minds, things are meant to be organised.
Yeah.
And then we want the outer to reflect that back. So we find ourselves nagging, but you know, at the end of the day, we're still depending. Okay, we're still depending. The outer circumstance had to be in a certain way, and then I'm going to feel peace of mind. So we're still like codependent. It could be a relationship, an environment, you know, the work, whatever it is. That has to be in a certain place so I can feel peace of mind. So that's something we really need to work on, because I can still be in a peace of mind even if things are not done.
Yeah.
We're choosing to feel uncomfortable and, you know, at unease, aren't we?
And we worry unnecessarily, don't we?
Yeah.
And then that gets us into that nagging state again.
Yeah. And
I mean, I think I totally agree with what you're saying, but I think, like you've said, we wear so many hats,
Yes.
and no matter what, you know, the women do have the majority of all the responsibility.
Yeah.
You know,
We do.
you know, direct debits and all that, but you've still got the shopping, and you know, and men do their bit.
Yeah.
But then you've still got to remind them, like a gentle reminder.
Yeah.
You know, can you do this?
Yes.
Because they won't naturally do it.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
whether
you've got to
that
remind
bit
them a
of
few
your
times,
brain's
right? And
just
then,
not like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? You just,
Yeah.
and that's where you kind of, you know,
And they can look
everybody
at it
wants a
as
house
nagging.
that's a home.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
You know, when everybody comes in, there's food in the fridge,
Yes.
the house is warm, and all these lovely things. And
Yes.
they can only happen if somebody's kind of in charge.
Yes.
And then that kind of falls on
I
us,
mean, I
doesn't it?
worked with them. So one client of mine, she had a problem with her son, that whatever I ask him to do, kuch karta nahi, I'm constantly telling him to do his room or do his homework. So I'm hard to think, gussa charda na sunda nahi meri gal, na. And then I just said, look, I said, whatever you've given your attention and focus to, that's what we were talking about in the car, you know, whatever you assume that this is how your son plays, I don't know, they canna. I said, why don't you change your story? Why don't you say, Joey kuch kehne ho fatafat kar denda, he always cleans his room, he always does his homework. I said, make that your new story.
Yes.
I said, stick to it, you know, completely be persistent with it, and watch he will conform and change. And he did. So how did that happen? She didn't actually force him to do anything. She just changed her story about him. She goes, it took her a while. And we can't say it's like overnight thing, it took her weeks. But she goes, instead of me making myself bamar and stressed out and getting angry, she goes, mera nuksan hunda, all these stress hormones in me, my heart's racing kendi, and ora sir vi anna dukta hunda. She's had really bad headaches, and I said, look, just change your story. Just say, you know, he's such a caring, understanding, but mujhko kehna nahi penda, and just visualize and just think of him, you know, doing all of that. And in the meantime, what's the problem? Do self kar de ro, ki ho jana. He goes, well, if I do my self kar, then you can get used to it and get mummy mesha oi kar do rahoge. No, do your story and keep it clean. I said, do you feel any stress? I said, is it feel less? But she goes, actually, my head feels better
because it's cuddly now, isn't it? And she's not.
So she changed her story. He conformed. Badal gaya.
See, sometimes that's a basic need in a relationship, isn't it? Just to kind of make difficult situations easier by just changing your story.
Yeah, but people don't believe that. They think that I actually have to physically do something, or have to slap them or something, or shake them and make them understand. It doesn't work. Because what you believe that one karna nahi. But if you start visualizing, I know he actually does everything. He does his work, time sitting. He's always getting good reports from school and everything. And sachi badal gaya.
And women, you know, as women, we need to like feel secure, don't we? You know, all my jobs are getting done, and you get security from that, don't you?
And I celebrate. Sometimes I had like say 10 things to do. Even I've done a couple of things, I think, well done, I've done it. I've done it. I say I've done it. I'm happy with that, Hannah. And we don't often do that, do we? We're always thinking about
what needs to be done.
You know, I think you know. So it's just your mindset, you know. Do I not really worry about you know, then sometimes, you know, those things become meaningless. You know, we've got something major going on in life, there's a crisis, or those things that you're nagging and fretting about and making yourself sick, they become meaningless, they have no value to it.
Definitely. And then we also like always cover a little bit on boundaries, right? We should protect our boundaries all the time, because boundaries are everything really, aren't they? So, you know, like sometimes people see you as being difficult when you're setting a boundary, but you're not actually being difficult, you're protecting yourself, aren't you? So just touch a little bit on that.
I think sometimes with families and, you know, friends, your time is your time. I mean, it was my niece Kieran who actually said it. She said, you know, your time is your biggest, most valuable asset.
Yes, it is.
And you know, you have 24 hours, but if out of those 24 hours you've given 16 away, then you feel depleted. And you feel like, you know what, I'm doing so much for everybody else, people pleasing, I'm making so many people happy, but really I'm not happy.
That's right.
Because I've done nothing for me. So it's so important to balance it. You don't have to go gung-ho and, you know, sare lokanu kosh karna, but sometimes you can just draw back.
And it's just being true to yourself.
And that for me is the most important boundary. Your time, you know, you can share it out, manage your diary a little bit better. And be honest, if you don't want to go and see somebody today for whatever reason, just say, look, you know what,
and it's fine.
I'm sorry, I'll see you. And if that's a valuable friendship or relationship, they'll be okay with it.
I was saying to Dav on the way, I said on Sunday we went out, you know, I went for the meal and I didn't want to go any further. It was 3 of us. 2 of them were going to carry on. The old me, I'll be so scared to say, oh, Many Jana, I just, you know, go or tag along. But you get to a stage where you think, you know what, I've had a nice meal, you guys carry on, I'm done. I'm just going to have a wander in the markets and get the train and go home. And they were fine.
But you felt safe, but you respected your energy, you respected your boundary, and they would respect you for it. But if you didn't, no matter how much you do for them, you find that good friends or anyone, you won't get that respect back, reflected back to you.
And they would have probably felt, oh, my energy is like, she don't really want to be here, but she's here with us. So, you know, we forget, it's just little minor things, but they are big things.
And I think your time, you know, people, if you don't manage your time, somebody's going to take your time from you.
Definitely, and that's like you said, that's the most
think
valuable
of energy.
thing.
Think of energy as money. You know, so every time you're investing your energy on someone, imagine it's money. You'll be giving all your money away, and you're left with nothing.
And remember, when you give somebody your time, that's the most valuable thing you have, right? And you've given it to them because you feel they are worthy of your time. And again, when somebody's feeling low, give them your time. Because
but remember to recharge yourself. When you're fully recharged and full of time, giving all yourself undivided attention, you've got all that to give.
Exactly.
And you're happier giving it.
Yes, you are.
But if you're empty, you're not happy to give anything.
You can't give anything because you're empty.
Irritable and you're annoyed because you haven't done anything.
And then somehow when you're in that place as well, when you empty yourself and you're giving, that's when the feeling of resentment comes in, or that feeling my needs weren't, expectations weren't being met. So we start to feel quite, like you said, rejected, and abandonment comes in, all this issues comes in, because we only feel that if we're emptying ourselves, but if we're really feeling fulfilled and we're giving ourselves all the undivided attention, then we can sort of like freely, unconditionally give our time.
And when we have done that to ourselves and we, you know how worthy we are, nothing really has an impact on us, does it? None of that matters because you're at a very good place.
The only reason I can actually do this chat show with you, only because I know it's a responsibility. Before I come here, I give myself that time to recharge. Then I can do this.
Definitely. Because if you're running here, there and everywhere, you're not going to be able to give anything because you're not whole, are you? You're not complete.
I won't be able to talk, to be honest. I'll be probably like, lost your voice, whatever. Be blank, my mind will be blank.
Definitely. Shall we just touch a little bit on our events that's upcoming? Because I know you're very excited.
12 23rd of January on a
Yes.
Sunday at the Brew House Kitchen in Sutton Coldfield.
Yep.
From 11 till 3 o'clock. The tickets are already on sale on Eventbrite. We'd love to see you there. It's all going to be about a new vision of you, new version of you.
It falls hand in hand to what we've spoken
Yeah.
about.
Yes.
So
Your
the new
Saheli,
you,
new
come
life,
out
new
your
story.
And it's going to be great. It's going to be a network event where you'll get to meet other people, like-minded people who you're going to be able to talk to and
Yep.
make new friends. So who knows what could happen while we're in that
Exactly.
magical place.
Exactly, and people will be sharing their stories, and when somebody shares their story, like we always say, it creates a movement for the other person. And your story, like we were saying to Vinda, we're going to get you out of your story because
Old story, that's
Old
what we're
story,
working
yeah.
on. And the new, happy, sort of abundant life,
Well,
where
prosperous
you
story.
need to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And also, New Year's all about people going to make New Year's resolutions. So on the event, we're going to talk about how to make your resolutions really work this time.
and
move
also
forward.
and also where you was, like there'll be women sharing their stories where they were, okay, they dealt with that, but then it'll be inspirational to others listening because of that dark place they were in, but they came out and look where they are today.
Yes.
And that's where the magic happens, because they've come out of their story, and their story has become a survival guide for the others.
That's right, yes.
And it's all going to be confidential.
Yeah, always
A
is.
safe place for everybody just to talk and feel supported and cared for. And we want to obviously make our network as big as possible, so
Yes.
we welcome anybody and everybody
nice
above the
food.
age of 18, and there's going to
Nice
be food and
food,
drink.
Always.
and,
And you know, coming to events like this, it just gives you so much confidence to actually want to share what's going on for you or what's showing up for you, and you can ask if there's something we haven't covered, even in our chat shows.
Yeah.
If there's something we haven't covered and that's coming up for you, get in touch with us and we'll cover that, because we do have experts on board that can actually help you and get you to that shift that you need to be, and you know, give you that confidence. Because until you've spoken, I mean, like our last event, we had a few ladies that had never spoken before, and when it came to their turn, they were like messaging. Luckily I had my phone. I'm not ready yet, Jazz, I can't do it. And there's no pressure, because you'll do it when you're ready.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about an organisation like this, where you can just be you, and if you're not ready, and that's okay too, and that's how where the confidence comes from.
But we're all learning, even us as coaches, we'll be
Yeah.
learning from everybody there.
Yeah.
And every moment is a new learning moment, isn't it, for us?
Definitely.
Because Zindagi is a learning curve, isn't it? We are learning every single day, 24/7.
It's like that song, Zindagi Imtihan.
It really does. And you know, from that, coming to like 16 to 20-year-olds, that is a very challenging time, isn't it? They're very challenging years.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously your children are grown up now, so give our viewers a little bit of advice on how, you know, they should deal with 16 to 20-year-olds, what we could be doing to make it easier for them, so they don't go through what we've been through. Or
I think working in a secondary school for the past,
yes,
you know, for quite a big part of my life before doing coaching, I think it's really good. It's good to have open conversations, and when I say open conversations, I mean with your son as well as your daughter. And if you don't have that connection, that close connection with both your children, then ask your siblings or, you know, somebody that you're close to who's happy to have any conversations if you're concerned. I think the biggest telltale sign is just to keep an eye on them when they're at school. So maybe not leave it until they're 16, you know, always go to parents' evening, because that will give you a real snapshot on how they're doing at school. So if they're well behaved and they're doing all the things that they should be doing and meeting the milestones, then that's really important. And after they're 16, if they don't know what they want to do, then get them to look on career websites and get them to kind of really think about what they want to do. I mean, personally with my children, we just said, look, do whatever makes you happy. So they're complete opposite children in their professions. So for me, it's always about talking and making sure that they know that they can come to you. And even if they don't want to come to you, there are places within school or colleges where they can talk to people in confidence. And make it fun. You know, life is always going to be hard. And
it's that challenging age, isn't it? And it's giving your child the permission, even if they make mistakes, it's okay.
Mistakes is very good for them. I think my
don't
kids learn more
criticise
from
your
mistakes.
child all the time.
And I think the biggest thing we all need to understand is they are changing physically they're changing from children, from young males and girls to being, you know,
it's that age, isn't it? It's that
so their
difficult
hormones
age,
are changing, and even they don't understand why they get angry so quickly and all those things.
And
so
we don't like to be criticised, so be understanding and criticising.
I think it's important moments that you forget being a mother or a father at that age and be like a friend to them. Go down to their age level. I do that quite easily. I can sometimes I can behave like a 10-year-old with them.
That's important.
I can behave really childish with them, but we have such a good laugh, and actually allows them that they can be, they share everything with me, because I allow myself to share everything with them and actually go down to their level of you know, awareness and talk to them. I don't sort of like think I'm on a pedestal that I have to look down at them. I go to the same level, and that really builds up a beautiful relationship with the children. And I don't even see them as children, I just see them, they're my soulmates. My children are my soulmates. And I'm connecting them on a soul level, and whatever their life journey is, whatever they're going to have obstacles and something, I'll just try and, maybe because I'm from this profession as well, I actually see that why is it a blessing, what an obstacle, why is it a blessing, that life is not there to work against us, it's there to support us, and each challenge is going to help them grow. So if you can just have them, that their mistake is an advantage to them, that they're only going to become wiser from the mistake. So don't think that they need to be judged or punished. Support them and say to them, you know, if I was in that situation, my parents would have dealt differently with me, but I'm glad that I've had this much soji and understanding that I can support you at your level.
Absolutely. And you know, it's talk about their accomplishments, even when they're feeling a little bit like, you know, not sure about themselves. Remind them about how well they've done, and keep a healthy, like we said, keep a healthy balance with what is said and how it's said, and that's key, because they are crucial years, and they just need to know that they're loved and accepted by you. So, you know, we forget often, you know, that we were that age as well, and we always didn't get what we needed or were able to talk to our parents, but you know, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਜਿ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਬੈਸਟ ਫਰੈਂਡ ਬਣੋ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਦੁੱਖ ਸੁੱਖ ਕਰੋ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰੂਗੇ
and like you said, mental diet ਵੀ ਰੱਖਿਓ that always think that no matter what my children, what they're doing, ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, Paramatma's protecting them, and have that faith. And don't worry about the worry means self-prophesizing, ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਹੋ ਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ, ਫਿਕਰ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ, you know, Paramatma's brought them into this world, they're always going to be safe. So always have that, you know, if they're coming, like when they're one of them is late coming home, instead of worrying about it, you think of the worst scenario. Don't think that. Just visualize them coming home safe, and you actually hugging them, and it's fine.
Power of the mind again.
That's it. Always
comes back to that.
Yes.
है ना, क्योंकि जो भी तुसी सोचोगे आप पहला क्या वो expand होगा.
That's right. Yes.
So you know, obviously, just keep talking is the key, really, isn't it?
Keep talking.
And there's lots of websites and, you know, places where you can direct them if you know they're not comfortable or something like that.
And build a good relationship with their friends as well. I have such a good relationship with my children's friends.
Definitely.
We get on like buddies, like we're best mates.
Exactly.
Then you know what kind of people they're hanging around.
That's right.
Exactly.
And that gives you confidence.
Exactly. And I get this from doing your Saheli, you know, be the reason that somebody feels welcomed, seen, and, you know, really valued. Because that just changes everything for that person. And you can see that. But when somebody feels valued and they feel they're giving something back or doing something right, you know, do be that person to give somebody this gift.
And sometimes if that child, your children's friends, you know, if they've got having a difficult time at home, they might talk to us. I mean, I used to have that in my house, where the children, you know, may talk to me about things because they felt like they could. And if things were difficult at home, you know, for whatever reason, it's just another channel for them to feel safe, secure. That somebody does care about them. You know, it maybe their parents are. You know, we all have difficulties.
Of course we do.
You know, and relationships can be strained. But the most important thing is that they, you know, when you allow them into your home, you know, they are then become part of your extended family and friends.
Really important.
It's really good.
Exactly.
It's really important.
Notice any, you know, signs. Notice if they need talking, if they need you to talk to them, or if they want to talk to their friends. Just give them the space.
Yes.
Just like we need the space, so do they.
Yeah,
and we often forget, don't we?
Yeah.
And we think, oh, Mabriniana, let's wrap them in cotton wool and, they should all be here. But it's okay. They're just experiencing life, aren't they?
That's right.
And lastly, I was going to say that expect them to want to do the things that their friends are doing.
Yes, yes.
Because if we think, oh, she's a Punjabi girl and Punjabi boy, they shouldn't be doing this, they're going to push against it more. And they're going to be doing it behind your back.
Definitely.
If you have honest conversations with them, be safe. Don't accept drinks from strangers and all these other things.
And Sanu Dasto, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, tell us.
Sanu Dasto tusi kitthe gaye. So if they need any kind of support, we're there.
Yes, definitely.
But if we don't know and they're doing things in secret and things like that, because we're judging them, then they're still going to do it.
Yes.
It's just going to cause issues.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's nothing, nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody's different, and we've got to remember that. And we've just got to keep talking, and we just got to be there for each other, because the more we are there for each other, whether it's children, whether it's siblings, whether it's a neighbour, people feel they can talk to you. When they need you, they feel they can knock on your door.
I mean, when we get Siane sort of start playing out like their childhood sort of behaviours as well. So Siane, we both got to sort of understand. But we adults make mistakes. We do silly things.
We're making mistakes all the time, aren't we?
We're all learning at the end of the day, and we're all changing.
That's right.
Exactly. And whatever works for you, share it. Whatever hasn't worked for you, it's okay. Try a different angle, because you'll find the thing that will work for you eventually. But most importantly, talk about any mental health issues, because there is no stigma attached, and that's the barrier that we want to break.
That's right, definitely.
And time doesn't wait for anybody, and hopefully we'll be back very soon with another episode of your Saheli Chat Show. Again, let us know if there's a topic that you want us to talk about, because that's what we're here for. And when we've got experts on board, anything is possible. So hopefully see you very soon with the next episode of your Saheli Chat Show. So from myself, Jas Saikon, Devinda,
Jai Gurudev ji,
and Gudyal, Jai Gurudev, and see you very soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.